Greetings and God bless. I wanted to do a little video about what I'm noticing and what I've noticed over the years of people who are better off, who have family stability, who have a good income, really loathe those who are homeless, who have a really crazy life. And I just wanted to address that. People who are homeless, half naked, talking in tongues, being crazy, people who make poor decisions about their life, consider their environment, consider their nutrition. I'm not making excuses for people doing crack or meth or whatever it is they're doing or drinking. However, I do think it's important to consider the context because I think that people who are living in a sane, moral, biblical, uh, where there's clean water, clean food, clean air, stable environment, like how often is that person on crack? How often is that person doing abusive things? Now, I know that there's people in the Amish world or in Christianity or whatever, where there is abuses that occur and systemically and like it's like satanic or something like that. So I'm not saying that when you're in a religion that you're going to be spared evil, but because we're in an evil world. However, it's been my observation when the family is eating dinner every night and when there is some type of communication, like decent communication. Yeah, there's problems that occur because life has problems, but people are not like, you know like generally it's not so like not everybody is on drugs and like on the sidewalk and you know so I think that I just there's these environmental components, there's these social components, and if you look at how do toxins end up in our air, food, water, it's usually through government agencies, and they deliberately put certain things in the water or in the air, and they tell us it's for our own good, but like our bodies cannot process those things. And like when somebody does like a major, like they paint their house or they fumigate their house or they get a bunch of new furniture, and there's all this off gassing, those that affects, that causes brain damage. And when you have brain damage, what happens? Your cognition is impaired and you can make poor decisions. Even malnourishment, problems with your like your glands. I think it's your thyroid, but certain medications can make you have that can facilitate poor decision making. So, again, we are responsible for what we do, but when you're physically ill, your medications are totally disrupting your ability to think, or environmental things are disrupting your ability to think. When you don't get a good night's sleep because there's somebody's dog barking all the time, or there's some loud thing going on all night, or the street lights, the LED blue light is so bright you can't rest because there's all these lights. Um, so when we have so many disruptions, and there are, I mean, it's everywhere. It's like you've got to do like 10,000 things to have like a somewhat um, biologically, habitable place because of all the assaults that's going on. So, I just watch some videos, and they're so full of contempt for homeless people, and I'm just trying to say that, I mean, not just homeless people, but people who make poor decisions. Because I've just been observing this myself. Like, I can't even see, the thing I'm looking for. Let's say I'm looking for my jar of myrrh. Like when I'm really stressed, I cannot see it, even though it's right in front of me. So when we're under constant stress, it depletes us of certain vitamins and minerals that help us function, help us actually be able to do what we need to do. And people have been, if you're not well off, and that's a whole other stressful thing because what are people doing in order to be well off and established? I think that there's a lot of blackmail, bribery, brainwashing that occurs. Like I don't think if you've been successful in the world, I just wonder about that. Uh, so if you're sheltered and well off and you're not having to deal with bright light and constant sound when you're trying to sleep, and if you are getting nourishment, and if you don't have to deal with crazy organizations that are trying to demoralize you, like the telephone company or whatever that messes with your device and doesn't take responsibility for it, for instance, or your landlord or whatever, or your spouse or your adult parent or your parent when you're a kid or your adult child or your child. I mean, there's all these things, and I mean, I haven't even begun to mention the paranormal, supernatural, like demonized aspect of life. So we have a lot coming at us, and uh, I just noticed for myself when I'm under constant stress of constant noise, constant bright light, constant bad smells. Let's say no airflow, exposure to toxins randomly, so you can't plan for it. Like it's torture. Existence is torture. And praise the Lord, some of you guys have figured it out. But don't loathe the people who haven't, because there, but for the grace of God, go I. That could be you, because I have known a few homeless people in my life, and they're generally like the ones I've met have been pretty smart, creative. They have certain qualities, and it takes a lot to have that lifestyle and survive. Um, so they're not all like scumbags just because you happen to see them sitting on a park bench one day, and who knows what led that person that day to sit on the park bench. And when somebody is homeless, it's like folks think, oh well, this they should go to the city for help, or the city should help them. The city, as you know, is corrupt. The city just wants to perpetuate its agenda. It is not there. It is not a social services program. Even though there may be social services program, it's not. It does not have the vulnerable people's interests at heart. Yeah, there might be one or two people there who really does, but for the most part, it's just some weird human trafficking, like soft version of human trafficking. It's all there to get some funding and to expand and to make some high up person more money and give them credibility. Because the people I've met in my life over the past 30 years, 40 years of having to access services, because even when I was working full time, I couldn't afford a doctor or whatever. Like these people have been nasty. They've been just like inhumane. And yeah, I mean, they didn't have my interests at heart. Uh, and so, anyways, and some people are able to navigate that nastiness. Some people are able to navigate it all, but not some of us don't. And some that don't end up either homeless or making poor decisions, or making alliances, unholy alliances, because that is the only way they're going to have shelter. So, anyways, yes, people make poor decisions, but I think so many things in their space make that so. And I think, like cities don't care about how inhabitable they make a place, how negligent they allow a home like an apartment building or a city to be. Because the city's just trying to make money, so they'll like, oh, let's install 5G and give everybody cancer. Let's install these huge, crazy LED lights that are so bright, it's brighter than daytime in the apartment building that's right underneath. And let's install 5 of them so the people just cannot have any rest at all. That's what cities do. That's what I've observed. And, they'll have crazy traffic. Cities will allow dangerous driving, and they won't have like crosswalks or safety. I called one time when I was in Oregon, and I said, hey, we need a crosswalk. And they said, if we put a crosswalk there, people would get killed. And it was just like, that's the logic. That's the logic. That's this progressive liberal logic, in my opinion. So, people love to hate on ugly, deranged homeless person or mentally ill person. They love to heap all of this blame on, oh, that person, or a lady who stays with an abusive partner or something like that. People love to hate, heap all this vitriol and blame on these people. And yeah, people do make their bad decisions. However, we're all, you don't just take the one thread out of the fabric and think that it has no effect on the rest of us. I feel like we all have a part to play, and I do feel like people have been selfish and pursuing their own little interests. So take care of my puppy, have my Instagram career, do my thing or whatever. And who cares about society? Or somebody else is going to take care of civilization. They don't need me, or even maybe like I'm a Christian and I'm not of this world. So, you guys just fend for yourselves. I don't know, but I think that a lot of needed people have abandoned the world, and this is where we find ourselves. And I think that the homeless person or the lady in the abusive relationship, would benefit if all those people who put their all their energy into their like little hobby of the aquarium or whatever, like if that person put their energy into the world rather than, I'm going to have the best aquarium, or I'm going to have the prettiest looking cat or something like that. Like if people could actually put that energy into their city, into their community, into the weakest part of their, you know, where if they put it into people, I think we would benefit. But we are in a fallen world, and we're not going to have that. It's just not going to happen. But I do not think anybody has a right to loathe deranged homeless people as much as I see it being done, because all those deranged homeless people, um, I think it takes a lot of things to really destroy somebody so much. And I think that's due to like social engineering, like what's been done in the environment, like physically as well as socially. And yeah, I just think it's just good to keep that in mind. Like there, but where the grace of God goes you. Like who knows what could make those people who loathe the homeless person. Who knows what could make them actually end up like that in a year. You know. Um, so I'm not giving excuses. And for whatever, it could be that people are demonized And and maybe there's the Holy Spirit in people, and they loathe the demons. So maybe there is some justification for loathing, uh, but what somebody sees. But I don't think like the completely like I don't really. Of course I don't like hanging around with screaming, demonized, half naked, drugged out homeless people. Of course I don't like that, but I don't think they deserve to be hated because I think they are actually a symptom of a social phenomenon. I don't think like that those homeless people are like, hey, yeah, I'm going to be all gross and scary and stinky, and I'm going to torment the people in the neighborhood. I don't think that's what that human being, was like, I'm going to humiliate myself. I don't think that's what they want. Nobody wants to be loathed and spit upon and whatnot. Um, and I, yeah, so, and I, I think, yeah, I just think it's a very uh, extraordinary situation that's put people in that position. And life is not easy. Life is pretty hard if you don't have resources and if you don't have connections. uh, and it takes a lot of work to get those things, especially if you're going to have integrity and to be honest and be biblical, seems to me. So anyways, been thinking about that. Thanks for listening. God bless.